What's up? 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 What is up? How are y'all doing today? It is Friday, and y'all know what that means. That means we're gonna have us a good old time tonight. I am your host, Emmanuel Eman Noisette. Want to thank each and every one of y'all for making it out today. I really do appreciate it. We have got an interesting, fun little show today. We have got some updates on the whole Paramount Netflix WB situation. We'll cover that. Zack Snyder got some clapbacks. Man's got a little spicy with it. So he got some things to get off his chest. And then we are going to go over the Bafta situation as well. In case you haven't seen my short about it. But there are some new interesting developments that I'd like for us to kind of go over as well. And we're going to get into this. We're going to get into it. First off, I do want to say, I want to give a shout out to Thomas P. Thank you so much for the $10 Cash App last week. I do appreciate it. I missed it last time, so I didn't get a chance to give you a shout out, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Let's see who made it out today. Who's with us? Who is hanging out? We got Dexter Reason. What is going on? Good to see you. Come on through, Miss Harper. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Theo, how you doing? Gothic Chick, appreciate you always. Kristen Pratt holding it down for the Mod Squad. Thank you so much. King Zero, hello. Let's see. Portia, how are you? Johnny, what is up? Treese, hello. Corey, I see you. MC, good to see you again. Kid Anime, appreciate you coming through. Let's see. Tracy, hello. Mama J is in the building. My man DJ Payne is here. What is up? Amanda's back. Thank you so much. Soto, hello. Diane is here. Yes. Music makes you lose control. Good to see you. Mad Muse, hello. Rhonda, appreciate you coming through. My man Mike is here. Nelson is here. Let's see who else. Tyra is here. Andrew's here. London is calling. Appreciate your stamina. Let's see. TL. I'm gonna just go with TL because I don't know what that I don't want to mess it up. I'm gonna go with TL. Only Samke. Good to see you. Black action figure. Appreciate you. Dwight, what is going on? Rob, who else? Jesus is here. Jay, Mel, hello. Ravia, hello. Oh, wait, no, Ravia, good to see you. Kelt, I see ya. Who else is that? IRA. I hate that they just putting up the screen names. Like, what were the names? Spider-Man, what's up? Who else? Black Prophet is here as well. Shout out to everyone that has made it out or is coming a little bit later on. I appreciate you all day. Let's see. Anthony, what you got? Am I going to review Hoppers? Probably not. To be very honest, probably not. I do have a lot of other things that I have to work on. I've been transparent about this. I'm rewatching From. So right now, as I'm rewatching From, that is taking up all my time, like all day. And I'm trying to create videos. I'm trying to do that. And my other, passion project right now is the Critics on Critics. So I just shot a couple episodes. I got to actually shoot another episode tomorrow. So I'm trying to get these episodes built up for you guys so I can release them hopefully in a nice little order. That's taking up all my time right now. And to be honest with you, I'm not really feeling any movies right now, probably until April. I mean, if we're just ain't nothing really popping like that, right? Like maybe a TV show, maybe that, but the movies, listen, the movies are kind of struggling. It's a early, I don't think we're gonna really start kicking up with movies until April. That's when Michael comes out, and then after that, by the summertime, then we're gonna pick up the pace. Even Project Hail Mary, I was supposed to go see it. I didn't, so I heard Scream was kind of boo-boo. Now, I was off the Scream train after Scream 5. After Scream 5, I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't trust y'all. I'm good. So I kind of gave up on Scream at that point. But yeah, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Like just movie wise, I'm just not really seeing enough motivation to get up, go out, and handle those. I don't know. Yeah, go watch Paradise season 2. Like I started it. I've been watching a couple. I was thinking about covering it. I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. Like and they haven't given me the final episode, so I don't know where this goes. So I'm just gonna watch it for fun. I did watch Cross season 2. We haven't. I didn't do a review on that, but I did like Cross season 2. I thought Cross season 2 was probably a slight improvement. I think it was an improvement to season 1. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into that. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Anthony, how sad would I be if the Bears moved to Indiana? What Bears? What Bears? We don't. If they move to Indiana, we don't have no team. Ain't no team in Chicago at that point. Because how dare you? How dare you? Just why? Why would you do that? Nah. I'm out of here with that. I'm out of here. Ray, I've been waiting all week for this Bafta's convo. Listen, y'all know I usually try and save it up, and I usually try and wait until the end of the week. But y'all, if you see my video, I posted something. I had to at least address something. So, but what I do like is the fact that there's more. Now we have more details because all this backlash is really starting to ruffle some feathers, and we got some more things. So I can't wait to talk to y'all about that. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get some of these quick updates. We just got some random news here and there about some certain things. First off, I didn't see this coming. We're not even going to really get into the sports aspect of this too much, but Netflix said, yo, run it back, because Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are going to fight each other once again in the first ever boxing match in the Sphere in Las Vegas. And this is going to take place on September 19th on Netflix. I am doing everything that I can to be a part of this. Not because of the fight, but more so for the spectacle. Because what are we doing? The last time these guys fought in a ring was what, 2015? What was that, 10 years ago? 10, 11 years ago was the last time these dudes fought? And even when Pacquiao fought back then, he still was looking past his prime. I think Floyd is going to be fine, right? Something just tells me that Floyd is not out of shape. I feel like he's okay for what he can do. But you fighting Pacquiao for this? Man, stop it. Y'all should have made this an exhibition fight. I don't know the actual rules to it, but it feels like it should be an exhibition for fun. But something tells me this thing is about to sell out. I don't know what it's gonna make for $1 billion, but we'll see. We also have Zach Snyder saying about Resident Evil that he's been given carte blanche by Sony to do whatever he wants with this Resident Evil film. I love this. I love every piece of this. Zach did an amazing job with Barbarian. If you haven't seen Barbarian, go watch it. He did a really great job, an exceptional job with weapons. And I trust that he understands the assignment with Resident Evil. I cannot wait to see what he has in store for Resident Evil. And the fact that Sony's not going to get in the way, they just said, hey, man, go cook. That's all. Sometimes that's all you need to do. When somebody shows you that they know what they're doing in that kitchen, get out. Get out. Go sit at the table, eat some breadsticks or something, and wait for that chef to deliver that full course meal for you to enjoy. We saw that with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was like, hey, Ryan Coogler, do what you want to do. There you go. And we got Sinners. So I like this, where they just allow these guys, these creators, to create. I'm with it. So I'm thinking Resident Evil is going to be probably, this might be early to even announce this, because let's be honest, these Resident Evil movies, after Resident Evil 2, they've been straight booty juice. Like, all of them have been cheeks. None of them have been good, except for, I would say, the first one and the second one. After that, they've been just complete trash. So, I think that this has got a great setup and potential to be one of the best ones so far. But we will wait and see what happens. What else? Oh, we've been talking about this. Y'all know that we got Heat. Heat 2, the sequel to Heat, is coming soon. And we've got an all-star cast with that, but they just keep stacking the deck. Because you already got Leonardo DiCaprio in there. So you already got Austin Butler, right? You already got all these hot mega stars and stuff. But now they said, hey, you know what? Let's do one more. Because now Christian Bale said, I'm finna be in there too. Let me jump in this real quick. As if the deck wasn't already stacked. Tell me you want an Oscar without telling me you want an Oscar. Are you kidding me? How can they even afford this budget? I'm just saying. This thing is finna make so much freaking money. Just star power, the legacy of Heat being a classic. You got all the returning players coming back. Man, come on. Man, come on. Come on. It's too much. It's too much. This is about to be serious. Oh, I have to talk about this. We have talked, if you've been here for a minute, if you're a vet to this channel, you know I have had a long-standing gripe, and I haven't had to talk about this in a while, and I'm so glad I haven't had to. And it was always about who should play Wolverine. Now, y'all already know. I've told y'all, when it comes to Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, you did the thing. You put in the work. Sir, rest your claws and recast. Give it up to somebody else, right? It's okay. Like, his legacy is set as one of the best Wolverines that we're probably ever going to get, right? But there was always the conversation of who's going to be the next Wolverine. And, I know people would joke about Danny DeVito. That was always a joke. Always a joke, right? Nobody really took that seriously. What I did not appreciate was the fact that a lot of people, too many people, were actually saying Daniel Radcliffe was a legitimate contender. Harry Potter? Y'all want this Harry Potter dude to put on the claws? Hell no. What? But he's short and he has a beard and no, I don't need it. And that's no shade to Daniel Radcliffe. He's a good actor. He could do his thing. Nothing about him says Wolverine. Nothing. Okay. Let me tell you, I give y'all my own criteria. If I look like I can push you, you ain't gonna be no superhero to me. Okay? Like, if I stand next to Alan Richardson, this man is gonna fold me and punch me like there's no chance. If I stand next to John Cena, I look like a little boy. If I stand next to Daniel Radcliffe, he gonna look like my adopted child. Like, it's not gonna be the same. So you cannot have him play Wolverine. It's not gonna work. Okay? Even Hugh Jackman, I can stand next to Hugh Jackman and be like, oh, okay, Jackman got a little jack too, that's a different story. Radcliffe? Hell no. But here's the thing. We right here. Because Daniel Radcliffe says he is not interested in playing Wolverine. Being the person who follows Hugh Jackman is not on my bucket list for anything. Sir, thank you. Yes. Round of applause. We are on the same exact page with that assessment. Yes. Now, I really wish he would have said, man, I'm not swole enough. Man, I'm not big enough. I can't do the role. But I like this answer too. It's classy. You're right. You don't nobody want to follow that. Fine. Now, I believe someone can follow because I'm a believer that recasting is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to happen to be too scared to follow up, that's fine by me. I'll take it. I will take that excuse all day. What else do we have? So we were talking about Scream earlier, and I told you guys last week, because Scream was coming out, we also have Scary Movie 6 coming out with its trailer or teaser or whatnot before Scream were to come out, which I thought was great marketing, really good, right? So what I thought was also concerning when it came to Scary Movie was, which scary movies are you going to make a parody out of? Because that in itself is the crux. It's the meat and potatoes of the Scary Movies, the franchise. Like, you cannot be saying like, oh, let's go back and make fun of I Know What You Did Last Summer. No. You got whole kids that have been born at that time and they adults now since that time period. We can't do that. You're going to have to make something relevant. You're going to have to make something that is familiar and something that you can easily parody, right? So you need some more up-to-date things, and I'm glad that they found these matches, because they are taking Sinners, they are taking Weapons, and they are also taking A Quiet Place. Perfect. I have not seen the trailer yet. I know that they just played it, but I have not seen it. But just the fact that they're taking those three movies to make fun of them, easy. First of all, the internet already used Sinners to make the butt of all these different jokes, right? Like, in a good way, like to make these parodies, these skits and stuff, that in itself is already set up and easy. Weapons, Quiet Place, I'm with it. So this actually makes me want to go see Scary Movie. I haven't seen the trailer, so I got to go check that out. But now I am actually interested in watching this. And I'll take that. I will take that. They did Hard Eyes and Megan also. You know what? I'm not mad at that. Megan, listen, I like Megan. Megan was a good little movie, and I like the sequel too. I know some people didn't like it or whatever. I like both of them. I thought they was decent. Okay, let's see what else. We got some news. I like this. Y'all, I've been telling y'all, I've been a fan of, I like some good sci-fi, and stuff, and ain't nothing better than some sci-fi with some blackity blackness too. We don't get a lot of that. Well, we don't get that crossover very often. But we do have the X-Files coming from Ryan Coogler, and now we at least got casting for one of the leads. And it says here that Ryan Coogler's X-Files series has been greenlit for a pilot at Hulu, and Coogler is going to write and direct the pilot, but Danielle Deadwyler is officially going to star. In case you did not know, the X-Files, it follows two vastly different FBI agents who form an unlikely bond when they are assigned to a long-shuttered division. So I saw this on Twitter. I forget who said, I think it was Matthew Cherry or somebody who said it, but they were basically like, pair up Danielle Deadwyler and Jack O'Connell, Remick from Sinners, and have him play Mulder. I'm okay with that. I am okay. Listen, just don't let it be Pedro Pascal. We don't need. We done Pedro already. Pedro's been in and out of everything. We don't need another Pedro Pascal. Let the man take a break. Just let him take a break. But I do like the idea. First of all, Danielle is a fantastic actress. So there's no question that she is going to bring it with this role. And if she's going to play like the Scully role, I think that she is going to do a fantastic job with it. And that is going to be very interesting. What I'm curious about here, I'm curious about how, because this is something that when I was watching the X-Files, I never saw this. I never saw this level of intersection. I wonder how much of Black culture Danielle's character is going to bring into this. For example, if they see certain cases that deal with magic, witchcraft, aliens, whatever, how much of that stuff is she gonna be like, hey, you know what? Actually, my grandma did have some stories. Like, I'm just wondering, are we gonna get a little Lovecraftian in this? Or is she gonna play a completely different neutral role? I don't know. So that's something I'm just gonna be kind of interested to see. How much of a different dynamic are you going to bring in when it comes to Scully, or whatever they call her, and Mulder's role? And we'll have to just wait and see. But I'm interested. I cannot wait. That is definitely a show we will be covering for sure. I don't know how to feel about this, but guess who's back? It's Sony Pictures, and they said from the CEO Tom Rothman that Spider-Man spinoff universe will reboot in the future. Yes, they said run it back. I am so mad at myself because y'all remember I told y'all I went to the AFCA Awards, and Tom Rothman, CEO of Sony Pictures, he was there. I was so mad that I did not take the time to just take a second and walk over to him and be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do this again. Don't do this again. It's not going to work just because you try it out a second time. Y'all had 15 chances. Y'all failed multiple times. At some point, if you can't do it with Spider-Man, or if you can't at least act like y'all got a multiverse as if y'all haven't already, just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't nobody care about Venom without Spider-Man. Let's keep it a buck. As I said before, Sony trying to do these spin-off movies without Spider-Man in them is like putting the cart before the horse, but you said, horse, get out of here. And you just stuck there with a cart. What sense does that make? Why would you just want to have a cart in the middle of the road that can't move and it's not doing that? What are you doing? But they're gonna try it. I don't know. I the better question I need people to, and I know this wasn't an interview, but I need someone to ask them, what did you learn before? And what are you gonna do differently? That's what I need somebody to ask these executives, because I don't understand their logic and reasoning. We heard from the last guy, the chairperson or whoever that was running the Sony Spider-Man universe specifically, and what did he say? It's the critics' fault that the movies didn't do well. It's the critic. Nah, don't blame the critics. No, don't do that. The critics are not the ones that control the box office like that. We just give y'all our honest opinions about things, but if people mess with a movie, they're not going to listen to critics. If people don't like a movie, they're not going to always listen to critics. There are movies that critics love and people don't like, and vice versa. So no, don't blame the critics on that. Leave us out of that. Okay, y'all made bad decisions multiple times and you doubled down. So anyway, this is why I don't get invited to Sony stuff. I'm pretty sure. Now this was something else here. We have an update here for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I did end up watching it. I know I didn't review it or cover it. I will be honest, I was kind of surprised that people enjoyed it as much as y'all did. Like, I saw somewhere that it had 24 million views. Like, it really did very well. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it, like, if I had to rank it, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Like, it was fine. It was cool. I think I binged it in like a weekend. It is what it is. Now, I am interested in seeing what else they do, and it looks like we're going to get that chance as well, because it says details for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 2. There will be 6 episodes. Each episode will be somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes. It's going to adapt the Sworn Sword story. Say that 5 times fast. Duncan Egg will go to Dorne. I like that. And it's now currently in production. So it will release somewhere in 2027, which I like because it's shorter. It doesn't feel like as much of a commitment, and it feels like they'll be able to give us one of these like every year. It's not going to be something like a huge production. It's not going to be something that's going to be a huge long wait. So I do like the fact that at least that's something that can be a nice little filler in between. Next up, we've kind of talked about this, but not exactly, because I think this is a little bit different. We were supposed to get a G.I. Joe meets Transformers movie or whatever. Who knows if that's even still happening? But a new G.I. Joe movie is in the works. Max Landis and Danny McBride are writing separate scripts. And then Paramount's plan is to blend the 2 scripts into one film. What could possibly go wrong with that? I mean, 2 different movies, and then we just gonna put the 2 movies together? I don't like where this is going. I'm just saying the sound of this makes no sense. I'm hard pressed to even find an instance where this would even come off as a good idea. I don't know. But yeah, I do not have a lot of confidence in G.I. Joe, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. We do have some God of War updates. Remember, they're doing the God of War on Prime Video. And so far, the casting has been pretty good, right? And we just got for my gamers out there, we finally got one of the important characters cast, and that is the character of Baldur. If you've played the game, you know Baldur is very important, and he has to be incredibly annoying and frustrating, and just you gotta hate him. You have to hate him. And they found their Baldur. It is Ed Skrein. He has now been cast as Baldur in God of War, and I think that this is like a slam dunk. This is a slam dunk. I mean, what was his name in Deadpool? He was the villain, Francis. It was Francis. Where's Francis? He was Francis in Deadpool. He could play a good villain. I like him for that role. So I think that the fact that you're gonna make him into Baldur, man, that's they doing some work. Now, here's the other thing. We also got our first look. Hold on, let me see if I can get this. Did we have it? We got our first look at Kratos. Let's see if I can pull this up. Boom. We got our first look at Kratos live action with his son. And the internet is ruthless. People are trashing this so hard. And I understand. I understand. First of all, the picture looks kind of like AI. Second of all, you immediately can see the difference in his face, right? Like if you've seen God of War and you've played the game for years, you're like, man, that ain't no Kratos. Who is this Timu Kratos? Who is this? We got Kratos at home. Like, you already are going through that mentally. I've seen people be like, man, he ain't even all that swole. Just I understand. Now, it took me a minute because I was sitting here like, yo, like, is he really that different? And I had to look, and there is a comparison. This is Kratos, and this is Kratos at home. The only thing I would say, right? Because it looks like they at least got the cosplay down. They got the costumes and stuff. The only thing I would say is y'all should have given this man a bigger beard. The beard needs to be a little bit thicker. Just it's a little thin in comparison, right? But, and I'll say this because I know, first of all, this image already looks like it's AI. It already looks like it's not even a real image. But if it is, maybe this is just a bad image. Maybe it's just a bad picture. I am going to have to hope that the acting that takes place from this actor is going to supersede whatever he looks like. So in other words, this man really gonna have to show out. This man's really gonna have to, you know, when it comes down to being angry, showing them fits of rage, he gonna really have to do a stand-up job to make me forget what he looks like. He's gonna have to, because we already have a long-lasting impression of what Kratos looked like. Now, maybe for new people, y'all don't care, y'all don't know, but I'm sorry. For the gamers who grew up with this is going to be a hard pill to swallow. Very hard pill. Let's see. What else do we have? We got some awards I'll go through real quick. And this is really just more so to go into the conversation of what is trending for the Oscars. So BAFTA, we'll get into BAFTA a little later, don't you worry, but they did still have an award show. And we see here that the winner for Best Picture was one battle after another. Surprise, surprise, right? So one battle after another did win for Best Picture. Sinners won Best Original Score. I think we kind of predicted that. Hey, give him all the entertainment stuff, right? And Paul Thomas Anderson won Best Director. So, you know, it's kind of telling usually when you can see directors kind of winning these awards left and right. And it kind of builds up a certain level of momentum when they go into the Oscar season. Sean Penn won for Best Supporting Actor in one battle after another. He was actually my pick from the jump. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say one battle was like that great of a movie, but I will say that Sean Penn did do a really, really good job. Like, he stepped up. He stepped up. Like, watching that movie, that was probably the first thing that I noticed was like, nah, Sean Penn needs a nomination for that. Also, and this is something important that we'll get into a little later, Robert Aramayo has won Best Actor for I Swear. Now, I Swear is important because it is a film that also highlights and documents the life of what's his name? John Davidson, the guy with Tourette's. So, for those people that are asking, why was he there? What? It's because there was a movie about his life and it was being honored. So, but again, we'll get into that. And shout out to Wumni Masaku, you know, shout out Lovecraft Country, shout out, you know, Agent B-15 and Loki. She won best, shout out Annie, you know, she won Best Supporting Actress in Sinners at the BAFTAs. Very, very happy for her, proud of her. You know, I did get a chance to talk to her a couple times, and you know, I'm just so happy for her, you know, because I didn't think, especially being at the BAFTAs, that they would really care, you know, but she is a Brit. She's a Brit. So, hey, You know, maybe they had a little hometown favor for it. That's great. But I also wanted to end this off on a positive note because despite the fact that maybe certain companies and corporations, maybe even administrations, don't want to admit it or celebrate it, it's still Black History Month, right? So because it's still Black History Month, we still gonna celebrate Black wins as well. And Ryan Coogler has made BAFTA's history as the first Black man to win Best Original Screenplay. In all these years, he's the first to win that. So congrats to him. But not only that, but Coogler has also won Best Director and Best Writing for Sinners at the NAACP Image Awards as well. So we still out here making history. It's kind of like that bittersweet moment of like, oh, that's great, but still, but man, congrats to Ryan Coogler for that. But anyway, you guys let me know, what do you think about all these updates? Anything that stands out, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's see, Derek, what you got? Deadpool told him until he's 90. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's unfortunate, but apparently, yeah. DJ, what you got? Daniel Radcliffe, that would be a hell no. I'd rather have Danny DeVito over him. First of all, I don't want neither one of them, but I understand where you're coming from. I understand. What you got, DJ? Keystone Cash Patel going to be Skinner in the X-Files. That would be hilarious. Let's see, Derek. Why couldn't they get the guy from Reacher? Because he's doing Reacher. He's doing Reacher. Like, you know, Alan is actually, he's got another movie coming out on Netflix coming out in March. Looks kind of interesting. Looks like Metal Gear Solid. But he be, you know, listen, he busy. He got a whole show on his own, you know. So, you know, listen, Jason Momoa could have played Kratos, you know, like easily could have played that. But you know, they made a choice. DJ, I'm not gonna judge God of War until I see the series. I'm still excited for it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like it's so much right now to simply just be it's so much to be just going off of appearances. I do think that we are going to have to wait and see the acting, maybe the visual effects. Like, it could still be a fantastic show. It really could. So I think it will. I think they are going to put their money where their mouth is, and we'll see. We will see. All right, let's move on. We have just a couple MCU updates. What is this? We got Daredevil Born Again season 2 takes place 6 months after the events of season 1. It says here that the Fisk administration at this point has really taken hold. At the same time, there's a bubbling up of an underground. New York is being transformed. So it looks like Matt is definitely going to have his hands full with this Fisk situation now that Wilson Fisk is the mayor of New York. And it's kind of interesting because to me, I'm just like, you know, y'all be giving the mayors like so much power. But it's also New York, because if you know New York and politics, like being the mayor of New York, you might as well be the governor of another state. Same thing. What else? Oh, we got a little maybe Black Panther, maybe. But Delroy Lindo says that he told Ryan Coogler that he would like to be in Black Panther 3. He says one of the things Ryan Coogler said to me was anything that he were to offer me, he would want to be sure that it was worth my time. He didn't say exactly that, but that's essentially the sentiment, and I respect that. And I think that is true, right? I think that, you know, for one, let's not forget that Ryan Coogler is always looking out. You know, I mean, I've been to a couple of these award shows where he was, or I've just watched them where he would give certain stories about different casts. And, you know, this is a guy, he really puts his heart out for the cast. He really cares about those people that he works with. And it's similar to obviously what he was saying to Denzel about how he really wants to, write something meaningful for him in Black Panther 3. And I'm pretty sure you could find something. You can create something for Delroy Lindo in Black Panther 3. Like, Delroy can just walk on set and just steal a scene like that. Now I'm pretty sure he could do an African accent. Maybe you want to make him Wakandan. I don't know. But there's very little that I doubt Delroy can't do. But I would love to see him in a Black Panther movie. I think that would be amazing. Next up, we have David Arbor. He teased that Red Guardian and Yelena Belova will have a lot of beautiful stuff in Avengers Doomsday. That just lets me know he finna die. That's all. He finna die. Yeah, he did. And because here's the thing: if you watched Marvel Zombies, they had some touching moments in Marvel Zombies. They had touching moments in Thunderbolts. But listen, this is Doomsday. Most of y'all not coming out of here alive. Most of y'all. So talking about all this beautiful moment stuff or whatever. Yeah, all right, man, you finna die. I get it. Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Anywho, you guys let me know, what do you think about those updates? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right. Yeah, they both might be dead. They might die together. At that rate, that's probably exactly what's gonna happen, actually. You want to talk about this? Nah, let's knock this out. Let's go over this Paramount WBD thing. So we've talked about this before, so I'll just kind of give you the update on what's going on. Paramount has submitted an improved offer to WB that is higher than $30 a share. Ideally, remember, Netflix offered basically like $80 billion. Paramount has upped the ante so much that they've upped it up to basically $111 billion. Y'all think about this. When Disney bought Fox, they bought that for $30-something billion. And people was like, nah, y'all overpaid. Y'all overpaid. They bought Star Wars for like what, $4 billion. And they bought, Fox, which was a good acquisition, for 30-something billion. But to get Warner Brothers, it is now 100. First of all, why does any entity have $111 billion just willy-nilly? Why do y'all have that much money? And here's the other question. Why is it worth that much to you? Now, if this were any other time, if this were any other company, I would say, you know what? That's actually not a bad move, because I've told y'all this before. We're not about to have 10 streaming platforms forever. That's not going to, it cannot coexist. It's not sustainable. Y'all see how the prices go up every single time. Every month, it's another streamer that's increasing the prices. So we're not going to juggle 7 different streams. Y'all gonna consolidate. We all gonna consolidate, which means over time, some of these streaming platforms are gonna have to go down and be like, listen, we can't keep up with this race because there's only so many subscribers, and you're not gonna get all the subscribers, and the subscribers are not gonna subscribe to all of y'all. So at some point, we're gonna have maybe a big 3. That's my prediction. My prediction is we will have a big 3. Netflix is gonna stay on top. I thought HBO WB was gonna be there, but Paramount coming in, they already jumping in right into the conversation of probably number 2. If they get it's probably gonna be number 2. But then it's gonna be a dance between what, Prime Video with Amazon and maybe Apple, but Apple ain't got the content either. Maybe Peacock, but y'all watching Peacock? Come on. Anyway, so they raised their offer. WB revealed that Paramount's new offer could lead to a superior proposal than their current deal with Netflix. They was like, oh, after all them rejections, now what you talking about? WB said, hey, you know what? Actually, the 9th time is the charm. Because remember, they was getting turned down left and right. And now they was like, yeah, Netflix, you got 4 days. Figure it out. Netflix said, we good. They threw in the damn towel because they are declining to raise their bid to buy Warner Brothers. And now Paramount is expected to acquire WB. What does this mean? It means a couple of things. For one, we could look at some of the assets here. Paramount could potentially now have TNT, CBS, CNN, MTV. I don't know if anybody watches that. Showtime, DC Studios, DC, James Gunn, all of that could now be under Paramount. And now they also going to have HBO and HBO Max. Now, here's what I really hope doesn't happen. Paramount app is trash. I need them to figure out a way to just merge all their content onto HBO Max, because that Paramount app, that ain't it. Don't make nobody conform to that, please. But they got movie rights to Star Trek, the DC movies, Harry Potter, Transformers, Game of Thrones is about to be under Paramount now. All the Mission Impossibles, the Lord of Rings, the Avatars. Oh my gosh. But I mean, like, if you're going to buy something, you got to buy big. WB always had a whole lot. Now, I want to address something though, because I've already had to get into a couple of conversations about this. Matter of fact, let me pull up the receipts. Let me pull up the receipts because I know we've talked about it. But I want to make sure that I pull it up for people who like to live in their own little bubble. Let's see, where else? Damn, where is it? I want that link. I'll find it. So one of the issues that I have is the fact that you have some people out here who I think are being a little bit disingenuous, who I think are also conveniently ignoring certain aspects of this deal. And they are, let's just say, of a certain political mind. Now, I've been very clear about this. I don't like any media, entertainment, art being in direct relationship with any political administration. I believe that the entertainment world, the press specifically, should operate in a very independent manner from any political administration in power. Just period. There should be some separation. Now, let me be clear. That does not mean that certain press or media can't have bias. I have no problem that there's a left-wing news and that there's a right-wing news. I think that that is okay because it is America. We should have a healthy amount of debate. We can have different perspectives. What I don't want and what I don't like is any type of press or media bowing down to the beckoning call of any political administration. Again, I don't care what side of the aisle you support. That's not okay. And if you think it's okay, it's probably only because your current side is in power right now. But just think, if the shoe's on the other foot, you're not going to like that, right? And when it comes to the Ellisons at Paramount, I don't like the fact that there's even the inkling, the talk, the correlation, the relationship that, hey, we're going to make sweeping changes to a news organization. And I implore people that are on the other side of the aisle of this, how would you feel if President insert Democrat here say, you know what? We're going to change up Fox News. We're going to change up right-wing media. That's not okay either. Let's not play sides with this. This is not okay. It's not okay for the head of an entertainment studio to make promises to an administration about changing a news organization because the current president doesn't like the news coverage that they get. That's not, what is it? Y'all trying to make this North Korea? Y'all really want state-run media? State-run news? Like, I don't think y'all understand how problematic that is. And here's the thing. Forget the press, the media stuff. I don't want my politicians telling Hollywood what they should make or what they should not make. Once again, we would not even have a Rush Hour 4 at all if it was not for the president requesting it. That's not okay. That's not okay. Now, is Rush Hour 4 the downfall of democracy? No, I'm not saying that. But this could be the beginning and the indication of a relationship that you don't want, that we don't need, that is fundamentally un-American. Do you guys remember Birth of a Nation? I'm not talking about the more recent one. I'm talking about the one from what 1929 or whatever. Birth of a Nation, for those that don't know, was a propaganda movie that inspired and incited and motivated and it basically was the reason for the creation of the KKK. But guess what happened? That movie was so powerful at the time that it was screened in the White House. That movie that basically got black people killed in the streets and created the KKK organization got screened, greenlit, got their back, their the pat on the back from the president of the United States. We should not be okay with that. I don't need my president. I don't need my politicians involved with none of that. If y'all listen, if a studio wants to go make a right-wing thing or left-wing, that's fine. Let them go do that. That's okay. But y'all should not be sitting here saying, yes, sir, Mr. President. What else would you like, sir? Whatever you like, sir. We could go ahead and do that. Yes, sir. Stop glazing them. What are y'all doing? Ugh. So, yes, to me, that is a step towards fascism. And that is a step that I don't think we really want to entertain. I really don't. Anywho, we got something else here because, the internet always catches stuff. leaked audio from a company-wide meeting has revealed that David Zaslav, head of WB, thinks that it will take at least 6 to 12 months for the Warner Brothers Paramount deal to close. And he said here, the deal may not close. And if it doesn't close, we get $7 billion anyway, and we just get back to work. Hey, man, don't give me hope. Don't give me hope. Please, just don't. But it just goes to show you how desperate Paramount was to make this acquisition that they threw almost they even went so far as paying the cancellation fee. Even Netflix got paid. $2.8 billion with their agreement with WB. So, in other words, Paramount was like, hey, Netflix, don't even worry about it. We'll pay you guys off. Thanks for playing. You guys are out of here. If this deal doesn't happen, WB, you still getting about like $7-8 billion anyway. We have too many billionaires that get to go around doing whatever they want. That part is very disturbing to me. You also have Paramount that does claim that they will release a minimum of 30 films per year theatrically once they buy Warner Brothers. It will be 15 per studio with a minimum of 45-day release theatrical window globally for each release. Now, Netflix said the same thing. They said the same thing, that they would pretty much do the same thing. But this is why I don't like the film bros out there that are trying to champion this as like, oh, this is a good thing. Oh, the Paramount is saving Hollywood. No. They didn't tell you what they are going to release. They didn't tell you. Here's my thing. I just illustrated that the head of the studio is at the beck and call of the current president. You cannot separate that anymore. Y'all know, if for those of y'all that have been following me for like years now, I don't get into politics. I don't really prefer to. I can talk about politics, but that's not really what I want to do. I want to come out here and chill and talk about movies and fun and TV and stuff. That's what I like to do. And I was just talking to somebody else earlier who was like, man, I was like, so you think that Paramount is saving the film industry? It's saving Hollywood, but you ain't got two words to say about the fact that they also are going to change media and press, and that they listen to the president of whatever he wants? You don't think that that's okay? And people are like, I don't get into the politics. And I'm like, then you need to be quiet. You got to either be quiet or get informed. Because if you're not willing to also engage with that intersectionality, what are you talking about? Because last time I checked, politics is injecting itself into Hollywood now. And I'm not talking about an actor's political opinion. We're not talking about a movie that's talking about a political position. We're talking about literal politicians and administrations are actively interfering, putting their thumbs on the FCC scales, and affecting the news that you get and the movies that you see. You would think that I was talking about a third world country with a dictator, somebody in power. Anywho, you guys let me know, what do you think about this whole Paramount WB deal? Do you like this? Do you not like it? Do you have some issues? I don't know. Maybe I'm off. Maybe it is a good thing. I don't know. Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What you got? Jason Momoa as Lobo and Dave Bautista as Kratos. Your thoughts? First of all, I've been Jason Momoa as Lobo since day one. Not even day one, day -1. Like, that was top pick from the jump, right? Dave Bautista as Kratos. I would like to see it. And I think I picked him as well. I think I picked him as well as like a good candidate to play Kratos in the past. I think he's got the acting chops to do it. Um, I do know that for at least according to him, he doesn't like, I think he said this, he doesn't like showing his nipples no more. Like this man, lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of muscle. He slimmed down. He's like, yo, like them days is over. The swole now, old Batista, maybe when he, if you could get the old Batista the way he looked and the new Batista who is a much better actor, that would be the perfect mix. So, but yeah, we're not gonna get there. DJ, Paramount is gonna ruin DC. It's possible. Now, to Paramount's credit, and somebody did mention this, Paramount is not, they still have Star Trek. And if you are a Trekkie, if you are familiar with Star Trek is a pretty, I don't want to say woke because it's stupid how they've hijacked that, but it's a pretty progressive minded franchise. I mean, you got black people as black women as captains. You got all different sexual orientations represented. I mean, granted, they're aliens and stuff, but still, Star Trek is pretty progressive. So maybe they let James Gunn be. I don't know how long that's going to work. We'll have to wait and see because, hey, you got a new boss. You're going to have to do different things. We'll see. Puma, you got to stop hating on Peacock, the traders. Nah, I'm good. Hey, listen, maybe the traders is a good show. I don't know, whatever, but I'm good. No thanks. Why y'all getting all this? What's wrong with Peacock? I get to watch my NFL team, the Bengals. How's Kobe? Your ultra secret mission to bring us Lovecraft going. So I guess you must have missed it last week. I talked about the mission. Peacock is just, I don't find a lot of quality in Peacock. That's all. And it's just me, I definitely do not watch the NFL on Peacock. I have Xfinity, so I watch it there. But let's see. Kobe is good. He is enjoying the warm weather change. Took him to the dock. He's all good. And yeah, the mission. So the mission was actually more so about, I wanted to get Ryan Coogler and Damson Idris in a picture together. Just imagine Damson, me, Ryan in a picture. We blowing up that internet. We are blowing up the internet if that happened. Now, unfortunately, Damson wasn't there, at the AFCO Awards, so I couldn't do it, couldn't pull it off. And I'm pretty sure somebody now is probably somebody else gonna do it, whatever. But if and when y'all see that picture somewhere else by somebody else, just know that was my mission first. But yeah, but thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate you. Yes, Nelson, we are going to get to that topic, so hold that thought. Let's see. Jay, CBS viewership declined since new leadership took charge. So that indicates the lower public trust in networks that kiss the ring. CNN would follow suit. Yeah, unfortunately, that might be the case, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think people can just conveniently act like this is only a movie-related business move. It's not. The Ellisons, the moment Paramount bought CBS and acquired it, like, they changed it up. It's gotten more right wing, and a lot of people were just not messing with it like that, and it's gotten into questionable reporting and stuff. So it could be the downfall of, like, at least what we know as traditional media, which is, listen, all I know is this: you have two sides of the political aisle. One side that is not typically in the majority does not know how to handle being in power. So when they do become the majority, when they do dominate all these it's going to be very interesting to see how they try to pivot. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to at this point. But anyway, DJ, thank you guys so much for the support. This makes me very upset. I love movies, and to have these politicians dictate what they feel we should watch, nah, I'm good. I won't subscribe to Paramount. Totally legit. I understand. Like I said, I don't want no politicians telling me to watch this or watch that at all. I don't want them dictating anything. If a studio wants to make something this side, that side, that's fine, because I have every right to just not watch it, right? But I don't want to deny people other options either. That's when you become a fascist. That's when you get into authoritarianism. When we're like, nah, we only gonna present one side. Nah, man. Don't stifle nothing. Don't stifle nothing. Derek, the new Star Trek show is horrible. I can't comment on that. I don't watch Star Trek, so I don't know. I've heard other people that really enjoy it. So I don't know. Anthony, my grandmama told me to tell you to stop bashing Peacock. I'm sorry, Grandmama Leach. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, because that is how we do our Saturday morning, afternoon Law and Order binge. She literally calls it Law and Order Network. I mean, listen, y'all enjoy yourselves, okay? And I understand that bond. Me and my grandma, boy, that was, man. She introduced me to wrestling. Rest in peace. She introduced me to wrestling. We was watching Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, you know what I'm saying? Like together, Macho Man, Randy Savage. She introduced me to Price is Right. Definitely have to watch Price is Right. Was watching Matlock, was watching Family Feud, the old one before Steve Harvey. I know some of y'all don't know about that. What else? And we definitely watched Jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was all on that. So I understand the time. No shade to the time, but I'm sorry, Peacock is still whack. I'm sorry, it's still whack. And I'm gonna just add this one other thing. And I know it's completely off. I have a certain bias against Law and Order, mainly because I don't think, and I don't like how they paint a very biased perspective of the criminal justice system for them. And we know this because of real life. Everything in Law and Order is the police are right, the prosecutors are right, everyone is automatically bad and wrong, and the defense attorneys, they're like the enemies. So we saying that police always get it right? We saying that the justice system don't wrongfully incarcerate people? We saying that they don't have biases and stuff. I don't like that. Now, I get it. It's for entertainment and all that. That's cool. No shade to your grandma at all. But I personally do not elevate Law and Order, because I've seen real life situations. I've seen real life court cases. I've seen these things play out in the public. And I feel like they just kind of put them on a pedestal that is not aligned with what happens in real life. So that's cool if you like the entertainment, but I'm like, nah, y'all not finna gaslight me. Y'all not gonna gaslight me into thinking that this is really how it goes down, because no, it's not. No, it's not. Let's see. JN, the Netflix CEO's wife and Susan Rice have something in common, and the powers that be are hell-bent to make sure folks from the culture didn't benefit. I don't know nothing about that, but all right. Listen, I'm more than positive. A lot of these folks, man, they all playing golf together. They not worried. They don't care. Come on, man. Let's be honest. If you a billionaire, do you care about fascism? If you a billionaire, do you care if the environment is getting bad? If you a billionaire, do you care? Do you even know the price of eggs? They don't care. It's not their life. It's not their priority. For a billionaire, the vast majority of them, the only concern they have is, how can I make another billion? That's it. That's it. It's not even like they need another billion. You could have $1 billion and live the greatest lifestyle with no worries. Seriously. But they want more. So, they don't care. They don't care. But, it is what it is. All right. Let's move on. We have a Mortal Kombat trailer. And I've been nervous about this. I've been nervous. I know we had the Carl Urban was in it as Johnny Cage, and all that, but I um I want it to be good. I'm hoping that it will be good because the first movie, I got super excited for it. It looked really good, but it just didn't age. It didn't age very well. You know, the whole thing with Cole didn't work. It just didn't work out as well as it could have. But we have a new trailer. Let me can I load it up? Let's load it up here because somebody told me that this was actually a better trailer. So I'm gonna see, was you lying or not? All right, so let's check this out. We got the trailer. Yes, check. But of course, we got to do this properly. All right, let's check out this new trailer for Mortal Kombat, the sequel. Let's see what we got.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry. You won't.
Yo, send me back. I want to go back.
The rules of the tournament are simple. Our fates would not be settled by the size of our armies. They would be decided by combat.
I'm not some great warrior. I'm not some champion.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
Me?
Okay, no effect.
Belongs to me.
We do not kneel!
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of this now. It's showtime.
Get over here!
Johnny will definitely die.
Okay. All right. I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like I think this is a good trailer. I think it's a good trailer. It's a shiny trailer. It's real shiny if you look at it. Here's my concern. My concern is the last trailer was good too. If you go back and look at that last trailer for the first movie, it also looked good. But it was the writing that made the movie not so good. So I'm glad that they're finally putting in a tournament in Mortal Kombat. The special effects do look nice. The visuals look nice. I was never a big fan about centering Johnny Cage. Because I mean, I grew up with these games. Like when the games first came out, Johnny Cage was never the main guy. It was always like what, for 9 games, I want to say 9, maybe 10 games. It was always about Liu Kang. Liu Kang was supposed to come in there. He was supposed to be the champion. He was supposed to be the main guy. You know, a lot of the story would focus around him. And then it was Liu Kang and the gang, right? And then only recently, there seemed to be this certain need and desire of taking the white American guy and centering him. I'm just saying Johnny's character never really stood out to me as being a character that needed to be highlighted. I'm not saying he's not important. I'm just saying that if you were to tell me who's the first one to die in a tournament, it's probably Johnny Cage. But you got Carl Urban, you got a great actor, which kind of gives me the impression y'all finna try and make him the main character. Like y'all really, the mere fact that you had Liu Kang, Johnny, you are important. Johnny, you are a part of this now. It's like, come on, man. Come on, man. How many times are y'all gonna try and stroke Johnny throughout this entire movie? Johnny, we need you. Johnny, we can't do this without you. Johnny, you're the man. Johnny, like, yo, chill out. Chill out. If y'all want to add him to the team, that's cool. That's great. Let him have his part. Let him crack some jokes. But if this becomes a Johnny Cage movie, I don't know. I'm only concerned about the writing. I'm not saying it can't work, because actually, I think in the most recent games, Johnny Cage got a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, a little more attention, and that's fine. It's fine. But I don't know. I will go see this, but I am a little cautious. I don't want to get my heart broken again. I don't, but we'll see. You guys let me know, how did you feel about the Mortal Kombat trailer? Is this getting you excited for it? Are you looking forward to it? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right. We got 3 topics left, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. We're gonna end up early. Are we? We'll see. I think we'll end early. I think we will. Let's talk about Jonathan Majors. Yes, the Jonathan Majors is back after a long road of trial misdemeanors, dragged in the media, left by his talent agencies and managers and all that. Jonathan Majors has done what he can to make a comeback, and it looks like he is about to in a new movie, but there is a bit of a catch. At least we'll see if there is. So Jonathan Majors is reported here to be shooting his first movie in 4 years, right? Keep in mind, before his whole trial and scandal and all that stuff happened, he did Magazine Dreams, but Magazine Dreams was already shot before all of that. It was already shot, it was already done, and it was withheld, I believe, because it just wasn't a good image for him. If you've seen Magazine Dreams, the last thing you would want to do is to put that out while the brother is also on trial for similar issues. You don't want that. Like, that was just going to be even worse, right? So and I like Magazine Dreams. I thought it was actually a pretty solid movie. Excellent performance by Majors. That, again, one thing we're not gonna doubt is Majors' talent. We're never gonna doubt that, because this man knows what to do. He's a great actor. But he has his first movie, and it is going to be directed by Kyle Rankin, who did Run, Hide, Fight, based on his own screenplay. It says the title, plot, and other casts are being kept under wraps for now, but the story is said to be in the vein of an 80s, 90s action movie, kind of like Red Dawn or Toy Soldiers, which were both about groups of teenage boys who had to band together to defeat invading enemies. Okay, first of all, who is Kyle Rankin? Because I don't know who this is. Let me see. Kyle Rankin. Yeah. All right. Let's just kind of check this out. All right. So this is Kyle. Director. Okay. What are you like known for? Oh. Ew. So if you recall, I have told you guys that when it comes to IMDb, the scale is a lot harder, right? The scale is a lot harder. If you are a 7, you are doing fantastic. A 7 out of 10 is that's a solid movie. An 8 out of 10 is great. A 9 is like masterpiece classic. A 6 is like, somebody watched it on streaming. A 5, you were trash. This man is averaging about a 5.5 for his movies. What is Jonathan Majors going to get from this? I'm just going to say this is a red flag for me. Like, it's one thing if I have a movie and I'm partnering up with a writer, director who has an excellent track record. Yeah, okay, this is how I jumpstart my career. But it's not looking like this track record is all that's good. It's not. Then, of course, what a lot of people have also noticed, this is also going to be produced by Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire. And in case if you did not know, that is a far right-wing studio, very conservative, all of that. And they have been responsible for other films. It says here that they have resuscitated the careers of canceled actors such as Armie Hammer and Gina Carano. Remember when Gina had her whole situation with Disney and she was canceled, and Armie Hammer was canceled for, I don't know, eating people or whatever the allegation was? Daily Wire was like, hey, look, we'll make a movie for you. These are movies nobody watched. These are movies that went nowhere. To this day, I didn't even know Armie Hammer was still working. Because the last time I saw him, I think he was like a tour guide or something in the Bahamas. Like, you know, and Gina Carano, like, did y'all go see her last movie? Do y'all even know what her last movie was? I don't. I couldn't even, I literally have to look it up. What was her last movie that she did? Let me see. Last thing she did that was not The Mandalorian. My Son Hunter. Remember what I told y'all about the scales on IMDb? If you're a 6, maybe somebody saw it on streaming. If you're a 5, it's probably trash. My Son Hunter, 4.4. What's lower than trash? What is lower than trash? The one before that. This is right after The Mandalorian. Terror on the Prairie, 5.2. So, for me, am I going to sit here and say, oh man, Jonathan Majors is doing a movie with a right-wing conservative, studio, this is terrible and bad and all. No, I'm not gonna say that. Because hey, if that's the way he got to make money, especially if nobody's giving him a chance, I would like for him to work, and I want him to have opportunities. My thing is, I just don't like the pairing. I don't like the pair. I don't like the track record of the studio. I don't like the track record and resume of the director, writer. I think that Jonathan Majors deserves better. I think, listen, hey man, you just married Megan Good. Didn't she just get done doing the Tyler Perry movie or something? Like, yo, Tyler ain't hiring. I'm saying, like, you can go talk to Tyler, right? Just somebody. Because here's the other problem. Yes, I understand you have to work, right? Especially in Hollywood. Sometimes people take on bad roles, bad movies, because you want to keep your SAG membership. You want to keep your health insurance. You want to keep all those. I get that. But at the same time, when you make them boo-boo movies, and then all of a sudden it becomes like part of your resume, and people like, hey man, you not box office? The last movie you made was a 4 out of 10. Hey, the last movie you made was only $200 in the office. Like, nah. So I wish the best for Jonathan Majors. I'm hoping that this is just something to keep the lights on. This is just like, hey man, I just got to pay my rent. Don't even watch his movie. Don't worry about it. I just got to do this. Because he does have another movie coming out called Merciless. Maybe that's going to be better. I think that comes out, I forget. Well, it was announced in 2024. So this isn't like the only thing he has. He does also have Merciless coming up. Maybe that'll be better, but I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Y'all let me know. How do you feel about Jonathan Majors coming out with this other movie with this studio and this director? Let me know what you think in the comments, because I don't know. This feels like a bad sign to me. I don't know. JN Majors is the new Isaiah Washington. Unfortunately, that sucked because I liked Isaiah Washington. He was so good in Grey's Anatomy. I didn't even watch the show that much, but when he was on, like, Isaiah Washington reminded me of a slightly older Sterling K. Brown. Like, if you told me that they was brothers and they was I'd totally believe it. Totally believe it. Such a good actor, but saw how that went down. Anthony Majors is gonna get paid well, hopefully. Man got bills to pay and does not have a ton of options. You got to do what you got to do, and I feel like that might be the case. It might be. I don't, and that sucks. Because I would hate for him to be like, this is all I can do. But sometimes you need something to get you started back up. Sometimes you do. I just kind of wish that opportunity would come from somebody else. Hey, man, go talk to Will Packer. Hey, go talk to, Tyler Perry. Go talk to somebody else. Go talk to Drewski. I don't know. Like anybody, just anybody else. Just, I don't know. Omar, my buddy was lined up to direct his next film. Not sure what happened. Oh, man. What did happen? Man, you need to go talk to your buddy. Is your buddy good? I mean, hold on. Yeah, is your buddy good? Like, does he have a good track record too? Like, I don't want to pass him from one bump to another. I don't know your buddy. Maybe your buddy's great, but I don't know. Hopefully it was good though. Let's see. Tyra, this the movie they said was the anti-woke center. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. They didn't give any details about what it was about. So, but it would not surprise me. Would not surprise me if they wanted to make something like that. Now, I would hope Jonathan Majors would not want to participate in something that the culture, Black culture, would be against. I would hope that's not what he would pick. I would hope, but we'll see. Anthony, Eddie Murphy made a career of doing bad movies for money. Are you talking about later in his career? Because later he did. The movie, did not have the best track record after. Like, what was it? After Nutty Professor 1 or 2? Yeah, it started to go down a little bit. It did start to go down. But I do wish the best. I wish the best for Jonathan Majors. I hope that this does work out. I hope that this does not bring him down. And we will see. We will see what happens. All right, let's get into, we got 2 more topics. We're gonna get into the Snyder stuff, and then we'll get into the BAFTAs. Where is it? All right, first off, let's talk about Zack Snyder. Do I need to give my disclaimer again? I feel like I do this every time. Yeah, it's probably gonna be some Snyder bros in here getting mad or whatever. Okay. I didn't write this down. Okay. Hi, I'm Emmanuel E-Man Noizet. I'm a film critic and YouTuber, and I like movies, I like TV, and I give my opinion on them. I do not hate Zack Snyder. I actually am a fan of his work, his previous work, especially. I love 300. I really enjoyed Watchmen. I loved Army of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Very, very big fan of his earlier work. However, I am also critical of some of his interpretations and his approach when it comes to DC. I did like Man of Steel, even though I had some issues with it. I did like it overall, and I had a lot of critiques for what happened when it came to Batman vs Superman, Justice League, etc. I am also fully aware of all of the other complications, including the passing away of, unfortunately, of his daughter, the rampant interference from the studios at the time. All of that is understood. All of that is understood. Okay. So I say all that to say, if and when you hear critiques, it's not because I'm coming from a hater type of place. It's because I'm looking at this from what I believe is a much more objective perspective as someone who has not only admired his work, but also critiqued it as well. Okay. All right. Cool. Great. Got it. So he went on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, said a couple of things. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but of course, we'll go into more of the DC stuff. And dang, them numbers did go up. Them Snyder bros definitely woke up, didn't they? I said, what? Snyder? Oh, get the boys in now. All 10 people joined. I know, it's fine. Anywho, Zack Snyder says that Christian Bale could have been the Batman of the DCEU. He says, I think if Bale had stayed, if The Dark Knight Rises had ended with Christian Bale standing on a building overlooking Gotham, then that's a serious conversation. I don't. That just, in my opinion, I don't. I think that you had 2 different worlds. You had 2 different Batman. Christian Bale, listen, Christian Bale's Batman is similar to Robert Pattinson's Batman. They were more grounded. They were not based on all the fantastic type of stuff, the superhero stuff. It wasn't like that. It was a much more grounded, realistic thing. You'd be better off saying that the GOAT, Michael Keaton's Batman, maybe be closer to a DCEU Batman, but even that, nah, we good on that. So right there, disagree. But that is not where the spiciness comes from. First of all, let's go to the let's build our way up. Because this is the part I always love. Y'all know how a certain section of the fandom loves to project their bias, their animosity onto others. Well, because we're Team Snyder, we are going to be directly opposed to anybody else that does anything similar. So James Gunn, we don't like you. Nah, the DCU is whack. It's bad because it's not the DCEU. It's not the Snyderverse. Like, there's just this automatic closed-mindedness because you have to be on Team Snyder or nothing else. And again, I'm talking about a select few. I'm not talking about the majority. But it always tickles me when we get a nice reminder from either James Gunn or Zack Snyder himself that they don't agree with some of y'all. They don't agree because they're actually cool. They're actually friends. They're colleagues. They admire each other's work. They compliment each other all the time. And we have that here where, Zack says, when he was asked about what was going on with the current DCU and if the DCEU could come back, he says, look, James is cool. James Gunn, he's cool. I wish them all the best. It is what it is. That the 3-movie trilogy with the Justice League and BVS is a weed that just won't die. It grows on its own. It has its own life. It's not concerned with James's Superman, which is amazing, and all the best to them. I can't wait to see the next movie. It's awesome. To me, it's not the same thing. It's a different thing. And he's right. He's right. The DCEU and the Batman and the Man of Steel, listen, it's a completely different thing. Like what James Gunn is doing is almost like, hey, let's tap into that golden era of comics, that Christopher Reeves type of vibe. Let's get that Superman. Cool. What Zack Snyder was trying to do, he was trying to do that offset in Justice League, the little spin-off alternate universe type of stuff. If you're a comic fan, that's fine. This is all you do in the comics is get different versions of these heroes. And you can enjoy both if you want to. So anytime people try to make this like into a fight or an opposing thing or whatever, y'all sound silly and childish. Okay, like just stop. There's no need for all of that. So anyway, this is where he gets a little more spicy, right? He talks about his reactions to Batman v Superman and other aspects. So let's kind of get into it here. He says, my 100% honest reaction to BVS and how it's received in the world is, do you really want a movie that's had all the edges shaved off by the focus groups? Do you really want a movie where the decisions have been made in a boardroom or tested ideas have been rendered for your enjoyment? Do you really want a Kmart version of your story? Is that what you really want? Now, I wanted to just address this because he's right, but then he's also wrong, because he's basically saying, you don't want a movie that is shaped and altered and lacks a certain level of authenticity and creativity from an artist. He's right about that. He's absolutely right. But at the same time, I also don't want a movie that when audiences get a chance to see it, because that's what these focus groups are, right? They test it out. They say like, yo, sit here. I don't know if anybody's here has actually been in an advanced screening that's based on being a focus group. So the way it works is you are not told what this movie is. They just sit you down in a room in a theater. You're watching a movie. And as you're watching it, you're like, oh, dang, this is Aquaman 2. I didn't even know. Or, oh, man, I'm actually watching Batman v Superman. Who knew? The director is usually there. The producers are there, or maybe they're in the back room or whatever. And, the movie's not done. It's still got, special effects or whatever they got to finish. But the purpose is to get feedback. And when the movie is done, you'll fill out a questionnaire. And if you have any comments, feedback, or whatever, that's what is given to the director or whoever for them to be like, oh, okay, now we get a pulse of the people on whether or not we're on the right track. So you will have situations where a director will make a movie, they test it out in front of these focus groups, and then the focus group will be like, hey, we didn't understand the ending. It didn't make sense. And if we're talking about a good director, what they do is they take that feedback, they go back, and they're like, oh, okay, we needed to explain this character a little bit more. Oh, okay, this doesn't make sense because the audience didn't understand that. Let's reshoot and let's do this and do that so that people can understand what's going on, or we can get a better reaction. So Zack Snyder, as he's kind of propping this up as if like, do you want only something made from the boardroom and executive? No, I don't. But I also don't want only something out your head either. I want a combination of both. That is how you really make movies for the masses. If Zack Snyder wants to make stuff for his own audience, don't include nobody. Make what you want, release it on Tubi or whatever, and then people will take it for what it is. But when you're talking about a business that involves making money, asking us for our top dollar at that, yes, I need you to refine that. Yes, I need you to make sure that what you're saying makes sense. Because I could have told y'all right now, if I had seen Batman v Superman and you would have had me in there and you would have said like, hey, what'd you think about this? I'd be like, why the hell would y'all kill Superman this early? That was dumb. That was a bad choice. And y'all should have. Do y'all want to make all this money or not? Batman v Superman should have never been a Death of Superman movie. That in itself is a whole other movie. And y'all dropped it. Y'all dropped the ball with that. So yes, sir, you do kind of want a mix, a healthy mix between both. But, you know, he's that kind of director that, you know, he wants to do things his way. And I get it. But there has to be a certain relationship between the two. Now, the article goes on to say that the Snyderverse ended before Snyder got to make 2 more Justice League movies, although he admitted on the podcast that he's absolutely talked about bringing those 2 movies to life somehow in other mediums like a comic book or animation. And he added, we live in a world where all that is possible. Now, I've been on the record. As much as I've given criticism to the direction and the approach of the Snyderverse and the Justice League movies, I do think that the best route to actually get the story out and to do what you want to do is comic books or animation. And the reason for that is simple. What Zack Snyder did with his movies, they were not for general mass consumption. He made a very niche, specific, alternate universe, and he was putting it in front of an audience that was not ready for that. Because the last time we had a real Superman movie was like Brandon Routh, and that was a sequel to Christopher Reeves, Superman. So the thing is, you don't come out the gate with a spinoff. Imagine this. Imagine if we had not had a Harry Potter movie for like 40 years and you're trying to introduce it to a new generation. So you say to yourself, hey, you know what? We're going to bring Harry Potter, but we're going to make it like, I don't know, a musical or something. We're going to make it some other weird alternative thing that has that's similar but completely different. Well, now you're losing the plot, right? If you want to bring Superman, and this is what James Gunn is doing, you give the masses the Superman and the Batman and the Supergirl, you give them the characters that they already know. Once they have the characters that they already know and they see that, now you have the opportunity to spin off. Now you have the opportunity to give the alternate versions, because now people already are familiar and they can make that distinction. That's why you had all that pushback when people were like, yo, why would Superman snap Zod's neck and Man of Steel? Well, would the normal Superman do it? Probably not. But this ain't your normal Superman with Zack Snyder. So he tried to be too risky with it. But guess what? Animation and comic books, we're used to that. That's where we see all the spinoffs. That's where we see all the alternate stuff. So that would be the perfect lane for him to continue the Snyderverse stuff with no pushback, I think. Little to no pushback at all. And now he does go on to say this too. I would never say there is no way. He says, I was on a ride that created Justice League, And if you were in my shoes, there were numerous times, dark times, when there was no chance that there will ever be my version of it. It will never exist. It can't. Cost, politics, everything stood against. And yet it exists. The fans should never forget they did that. They also raised a ton of money for suicide prevention. They did a lot of good. They catch a lot of flack for being toxic or whatever, but they literally saved human lives. You can go F yourselves if that's what you think. Oh. Well, excuse me. Excuse me. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is part of the reason why I do have criticisms for Zack Snyder, because this ain't the first time he has excused toxicity. Listen, just a piece of advice. If you want to be a good cult leader, you have to separate the bad from the good. Okay? Let's just be honest with this. It is entirely possible to have two things be true. You can absolutely have fans raise money for suicide awareness and for a good cause, 100%. You can also have fans that are toxic, that are abusive, that are harassing people, that are, harassing the executives and, doing all this stuff. You can have both. You can have both. You can call out the bad ones and you can thank the good ones. But the mere fact, what did he say? A lot of flack for being toxic or whatever. I'm sorry, but like if people are, I don't even remember all the terrible things that some of the bad apples were doing, but it was bad. It was not excusable. I'm sorry. Raising money does not negate bad behavior. Now I get it. He lost his daughter to suicide, so he has a soft, place in his heart for people that raise it, and that's great. Thank them for that. But you can also call out nastiness as well. So, again, he's had other instances where he would gaslight people, where he would kind of be like, what's the big deal? Whatever. Like, and he would just kind of egg them on. That I don't like. I don't like that. And I'm saying this as someone who, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, with Recast T'Challa, right? I sat here with a certain message when it came to what I believed in for Black representation, for honoring the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. And I knew ahead of time that somebody was going to try and hijack that movement, that conversation, into 5 different things that it had nothing to do about, right? My conversation was never about boycotting anything. My conversation was never about excluding women and being sexist or bigoted. That was never my intention. That was never communicated. I mean, I did list in the FAQs like, this is not what we about, but I did call out any type of negativity or bigotry because it's literally the least I can do, right? The least I can do is, I didn't sit here and say like, hey, all these people that raise money for Recast T'Challa, that we donated for colon cancer and all that, even if y'all were toxic, it's fine. No, if you're toxic, you don't represent what we're trying to do here. We're trying to keep this positive and be in love and all of that. So I'm sorry. I lose a little bit of respect for, for Zack Snyder and trying to excuse toxicity just because people raised a little money, here and there. Listen, acknowledge the good, denounce the bad. That's all. That's not hard. It's not hard. Anyway, that's Zack Snyder. He got a little spicy with folks, though. You guys let me know, what did you think about his comments? What did you think about his position? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. JN, Snyderverse just didn't execute for DC. Yeah, I mean, it didn't. And that's been my argument the whole time. It's like whether you like it or not, it underperformed. It underperformed. There's no to this day, there was no excuse that while we were in the boom of comic book movies, Avengers hitting $1 billion, that you couldn't have a movie for the first time ever with the two most popular superhero characters with Batman and Superman not make $1 billion. In what universe would you say the ragtag C-list Avengers at the time would have outperformed Batman and Superman together? Stop it. They underperformed. It did. Let's see. Mambo, toxicity that defends Snyder himself. I get it. Well, you said it, not me. You said it. All right. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Now it's time that we get into this BAFTA N-word fallout situation. In case you missed it, I have posted a video kind of recapping what happened and my thoughts about it. But of course, this situation has developed a little bit more. Just to kind of give people a little recap, at the BAFTA Awards, you had a person named John Davidson who has Tourette's syndrome. And while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting an award on stage, Davidson screamed out the racial slur, the N-word, right? Okay. Now, this has obviously caused a lot of friction. It's caused a lot of commotion. A lot of people are upset, and rightfully so, right? The N-word is a historically charged derogatory term that, you know, is linked to the literal deaths of Black people, the degradation of Black people in this country, in America. So it is a racially charged word. It's very problematic. And, you know, that is something that, as I've said in my video, Black people have every right to feel a certain type of way, especially the optics didn't help, especially coming from an older white guy. Okay, let's keep it 100 here. It's not a good look. At the same time, now, again, at the same time, so I'm not negating anything, the man has Tourette's syndrome. I've heard a lot of disturbing things from people about why was he even there, right? And that's a fair question. That's a fair question. But what does get a little disturbing is when I hear people say stuff like, yo, couldn't y'all put a muzzle on him or whatever? Couldn't y'all like cover his mouth and all? And it's like, yo, wait a minute, guys. Racial slur and all, I understand. But that's still a person, and it's a person with a disability, with a disorder, a neurological disorder, right? And the reason why he was there is because at the BAFTA, remember the movie I Swear was being nominated, being awarded, and it was based on his life. He was trying to raise awareness about Tourette's syndrome, right? I think what ends up happening here, because I'm looking at the conversations and I'm looking at people going back and forth about this, and I will be the first to admit, I did not know, and I'm definitely not an expert at it, I did not know a lot about Tourette's syndrome. What I did know was that I remember movies and TV shows constantly making Tourette's syndrome the butt of a joke. I remember watching comedies back in the past where somebody who had Tourette's syndrome would just say offensive language, and it was funny. I remember South Park making an entire episode about Cartman acting like he had Tourette's syndrome just so he could say things, and it was funny. What I did not know was how the actual syndrome works, what causes it, what it means, the implication. I didn't know any of that. Just, I'm being 100 with y'all. I did not know a lot of that. And I'm pretty sure other people didn't know either. So that is not to say that there is not blame and accountability that should be given. So I want that to be clear. So we're going to take some time. We're going to go through the different ins and outs of this situation. We're going to take some time to actually talk about Tourette's syndrome, but we're also going to talk about where blame and accountability should be, because I really don't want people to think, oh, well, you only got a disability, so then you get a pass, and oh, well, it's just the word, so it doesn't matter. We're not doing that. We're going to dissect this and make sure that we know where to put blame specifically and how this should be understood. Okay. So first of all, let's put some blame on the institutions, because that's where I definitely got into one of my first accusations, because Delroy Lindo says that him and Michael B. Jordan did what they had to do to continue presenting while they were interrupted at the Bafta after John Davidson shouted out the N-word. He said he wishes someone from Bafta spoke to us afterwards. So right then and there, Bafta, you dropped the ball. Because for those that don't know, the beginning of this award show, they told the audience, they said, hey, we're highlighting Tourette syndrome. We do have someone in the audience who has Tourette syndrome. You might hear outbursts. You might hear inappropriate things. Please be aware. They did tell people that beforehand. Cool. But what Delroy is saying is that, yo, nobody came up to him after. Nobody from Bafta was like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry we did that. Nothing. That's inexcusable. That's a problem. Now, John Davidson did come out. He wrote a statement, and, I'll just surmise it for you, basically. He just was like, yo, I felt horrible. I like the fact that they gave an announcement to the auditorium in advance, all of that. I was sad about the things that I said. And he did say that he was the one that elected to remove himself, right? So it's also should be understood that he was saying, he didn't just wait until two black people got up there and said something bad, okay? He actually was saying, he was having tics. They call them tics, these outbursts, which are involuntary, by the way. They cannot control them. He was saying these things to a bunch of people throughout the entire thing. Like, it just happens. It just happened. But I'm not going to go through his whole statement, because the biggest issue with his statement here is that it was not an apology. There was no apology made here. And that, to me, I hold him accountable for. I'm not holding him accountable for something that he cannot control, which is his tics, his involuntary tics. But what I am holding him accountable for is that he has the full capability and ability to apologize. Now, I'm not saying this from an ableist position or nothing. I'm taking this from other people who also are disabled or all have other disorders with their testimony, where they would say, hey, sometimes, like, I have a nervous spasm and I hit somebody, I can't control it, but I always apologize to them. That's nothing. You can do that. You can do that. Now, to his credit, he did mention in an interview that he has reached out to Warner Brothers to try to directly apologize to Michael B., Delroy, and Hannah Bleacher for shouting the N-word at the BAFTAs during his involuntary take. So he has made an effort, because I agree. You should apologize to them specifically. Now, my only problem here is you just did a whole interview with Variety. We'll talk about it in a second. You could have issued your apology right there, because maybe they don't want to talk to you. But you can still issue a public apology, especially if you're going to make a whole statement. You can issue an apology and be like, hey, you know what? I'd love to reach out to them. I'm hoping I can get a meeting with them, a Zoom call, something, so I can apologize. But just in case they don't get this message, I'd like to just put it out there in the public. God, I am sorry. I apologize. Whatever. You can do that. Cool. Let's get that out the way. So that's one level of accountability right there. Yes, you might not be able to control it, but you absolutely can control apologizing. Okay. As I mentioned, this was not the only slur that was put out there. He also made homophobic slurs. I think he called Alan Cummings like a pedophile or something like that. Do I have it here? No, I have it somewhere else. But it was not just the N-word, okay? And we will get into this. We will get into what this syndrome actually does, but just very simply, it makes you, you will say the most offensive things and you just don't have a filter. Your brain just does not control. It just cannot. We'll get into that. Now, I kind of want to get into his actual interview with Variety. It says here, since the fallout, Davis's team has shared that he reached out to the studio. He wanted to apologize to the people directly. Now, just because you have Tourette syndrome, there are still different layers to it. So he has coprolalia, and that's the involuntary use of obscene or offensive language. And that symptom affects 10 to 30% of the people that actually even have it. So he says here, I have been physically beaten within an inch of my life with an iron bar after ticking a comment to a young woman whose boyfriend and accomplice ambushed me one evening. He says, depending on the severity of the condition, people either have the ability to suppress what they are saying for short periods of time, or they don't. Suppressing can be compared to taking a bottle of Coca-Cola and shaking it each time you feel to tick. Before long, the pressure is so intense, it has to be released and it bursts out. And on occasion, that can lead to a tick attack. So he also says, I want people to know and understand that my tics have absolutely nothing to do with what I think, feel, or believe. It is involuntary. It's an involuntary neurological misfire. My tics are not my intention, not a choice, and not a reflection of my values. Yes, so right here, he did make a joke about Alan Cumming. He said it says here, this resulted in homophobic tics coming from me that led out to shouting out pedophile. That was likely triggered because Paddington Bear is a children's character. So just so people understand, there is like something going on in the subconscious, right? It's not like, this is exactly how he feels and this is exactly what he wants to say or whatever. No. This is something like the brain has these connections and they just do not have the filter for it, right? So that is where, and by the way, I know people were also thinking to themselves like, well, how did he even know that word? Guys, let's be honest real quick. We live in America. My children who go to a diverse school with all different walks of life, they've heard the N-word from in second grade. It pisses me off. But we live in America. You gonna learn or be exposed to the N-word in music and movies and TV, from your neighbors, from your friends, from your family, anywhere. People can learn these things. Now, again, it doesn't mean that that's what you mean and that's what you want to say. It doesn't mean that. But you can learn these things one way or another. Now, I get this. Okay, I'm not oblivious to this, of the fact that, listen, it sounds very convenient. You're an old white guy. You just so happen to say the N-word to some black people. I understand. Some people who do not understand how the condition works, you don't want to believe it. I understand. So I thought that it would be helpful to actually learn from other people who have the condition and are Black, because it opened up my eyes and it gave me a little bit more understanding. So I want to play some of these. I want to play some of these because I do believe that we all can benefit from just having a little bit more understanding of how this works from people that actually have it.
I have Tourette syndrome. I was diagnosed over 30 years ago. As you might be able to tell, I'm also a very proud Black man. I also have coprolalia, which means I sometimes tick socially unacceptable words, including the N-word. So you might imagine I have some thoughts on the Bafta controversy. Let's go. So I know everyone has a lot to say on this incident, a lot of anger and outrage, which I understand, a lot of opinions. Just want to make sure we're able to put that outrage and required empathy in an intersecting controversy and issue with the information that's needed on a complicated thing. When I was elected over 15, 16 years ago, I was thought to be the first first elected official with Tourette syndrome. And thankfully that is no longer the case. And people with coprolalia only make up about 10 to 30% of people who actually have Tourette syndrome. It's important to remember that it's not just a lack of a filter, it's an involuntary compulsion, whether it's vocal or body movements, and it can also include very bad intrusive thoughts. Now, before I was diagnosed, my mother saw a 2020 special. It actually had a man who was white, and his tick was one of his ticks was the N-word. This was over 30 years ago. I'll pause there because I'm gonna come back to it in a moment. Now, obviously, we want to practice care when we're speaking about the person who has Tourette syndrome, who is the ticker, because they also require some grace and some consideration. Regardless of the reason, a word like the N-word can cause a lot of harm. There's some spaces where it's not just about whether you're making noise, whether you're moving in a way that people might be a little uncomfortable. This is a very specific thing. So I'm only speaking about the N-word and use of it in different spaces. You also have to provide empathy and care for people who are receiving it, like Delroy Lindo, like Michael B. Jordan, like the thousands, if not more, of people who heard it. They deserve some care and compassion as well, and I believe that's where the ball was dropped. I don't think there was enough care that was provided. And there's some ways I want to talk about how we could have and how BAFTA and others can do better in the future.
Yes. So, again, it's not something, and I even messed up, right? I said that it was just involuntary. It's not just involuntary. It's also a compulsion, something that they cannot help. But this is something that also stood out to me, and it I didn't even notice because I followed this guy, this creator, and I didn't even know he had Tourette syndrome. But his story was something that really opened up my eyes, especially when it comes to people that say, "Oh, well, there's no excuse. He said the N-word, he meant that," and it's like, yo, again, take a second, especially if you don't know about the condition, and just listen to people that have the condition. Just take a minute and just try to empathize.
Now, as someone who's lived with Tourette syndrome my entire life, I'm more than qualified to speak on this. I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear this. What he said there was totally unacceptable, and I can understand the anger from Black people. However, for some strange reason, and my wife used to ask me all the time, does Tourette's ever say positive things? And not really. For some reason, it's kind of like you ever see in the cartoons when you have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other one. Tourette's is like the devil on the shoulder telling you to say that bad thing, and you try to fight it, but you can't. Now, as a person living with Tourette syndrome, I can't automatically call him a racist. Reason being, I've said a lot of things that I really didn't mean, and it was just, it's like when you think it, it wants to just come out your mouth. For example, growing up, and my mother could testify to this, I used to call my mother a stupid SLUT all the time. All the time. Do you really think that I thought that I saw my mother like this? No. And then I upped the game. I started calling her, and I'm going to keep this clean, I started calling her a kitty ass female dog all the time. And never once did I mean any of this. And my mother understood that because, in the beginning, she didn't understand how it worked. But being her child, eventually, She understood that. So while this dude's timing was horrible timing, do I automatically think that he's a racist and he meant that? No, I can't, because I've said stuff, not even to be funny, but let me just, I'm just trying to paint a picture. It's certain times when you hear certain things and they are affiliated with certain people, like it wants you to say these things. For example, if I'm out and I keep hearing people say like cracker, everything in my body, Tourette's wise, will want to yell that out, and I have to do everything not to do it. Not because I see white people like this, but because that's how it works. It's hard to explain. Only people with Tourette's really understand how other people with Tourette's work. Again, I'm not trying to justify what he said. Could he be a racist? Absolutely. But do I think that automatically, knowing how I struggle with it?
Yeah. And that's why I can't rush. Y'all, first of all, y'all already know. If I think somebody is racist or something is racist, I'm about to let y'all know. I'm not holding my tongue on that, right? But I can't just sit here and say, oh, he said the N-word, he's white, he has a mental disorder or condition, he's racist. Nah. Maybe he is. I need more evidence, but I can't say that off a disorder. And the mere fact that, again, you got this brother here sitting here talking about he was calling his mama out her own name. He didn't mean that. He didn't mean it. And she knew that, right? So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, yo, we really need to just chill out, sit back, relax. And I got one more that I want to play. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's a little bit longer, because I really do, and if y'all can find her, this girl made a really good video about this. She makes videos about this all the time, but like, it's really something that I know we as a general public, we are not familiar enough with this to be in a place to heavily criticize it. And that's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna play this just for a little bit. And then we're gonna get to the real issue.
I have been seeing a bunch of outrage about it. People saying, well, why would that even be in his vocabulary? He did that on purpose and all of this stuff. And that racism is to excuse. Very sad day for the Tourette syndrome community, especially for the ones that have coprolalia, because when you come online and you see thousands of people hating on your condition, specifically coprolalia, because that's something that is already very embarrassing for all of us. Not going to say that people can't be offended by the fact that somebody said the N-word as a tick. However, it's not something that somebody can control. It's not something that somebody wants to say. And I've been seeing a lot of people be like, well, he said it like when the crowd went silent. That is most likely when a tick is going to happen, when you're in public, when you're in complete silence, or when you're trying not to say or do something. So we must understand what coprolalia is. Coprolalia causes involuntary swearing and inappropriate tics. This can include the N-word, slurs, etc. I am a Black person, and even I have the N-word tic and slurs as tics. This is something I don't see many talk about because of situations like this. Is it a disappointing thing? Shut up! That it happened in public in front of that entire crowd, specifically to Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter. I'm so sorry, I do not know his name. I wish I did, but no disrespect to him. I just am not too aware. Yes, it is a very unfortunate situation. Seeing so many people say that they would invoke violence against people with coprolalia if they can't control their tics. That's ableism. The fucked up thing that this happens, yes, but it's something that we can't control. Aggression in the brain being triggered, shut up, and ultimately causing inappropriate tics. Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter have the right to be upset, especially if they were not aware. However, we need to understand and educate ourselves. And on my videos, I constantly see people saying, oh my god, it's so funny, if I had cursing tics, I would be laughing all the time. But when people actually have cursing tics, then it's offensive and they're a bad person and this and that, the third. We need to do better.
I'm gonna leave it right there. So again, I just hope that we can get to a point, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't like an already marginalized community, Black community, turning against a disabled community as well. I don't want us fighting like that because, as you can see from the people I just pointed out, Black folks have Tourette's syndrome too. You might not know it, you might not see it, but it does exist. There is that intersectionality, right? But we need to really get into the real villains here. The real villains. Because first of all, Bafta, you up. All right. John Davidson says that he was told that the swearing would be cut from the from Bafta award broadcast, and he questioned the decision to seat him next to a microphone. What the hell? Now, what sense did that make? Y'all invited this man. You knew what was possible. You knew what was possible. And you invited him and you sat him down next to a microphone? First strike, Bafta. Then here's the other thing. Keep in mind that this whole award show, it was not live. It was not live at all. There was like about a 2-hour tape delay, give or take. It was a delay. Because while this was happening, the BBC, the network that was airing everything, y'all had all the time. Y'all had all the time to censor political speech. So somebody had enough time and wherewithal to sit here and be like, oh, man, we don't want to get political. Mute. So y'all was able to take that out of the tape delayed speech. They also said that they got rid of other slurs because that wasn't the only one. But for whatever reason, y'all left this in. And then we actually got some apologies. And I'm not going to read all the apologies because I don't care. Like, whatever. But the BBC did apologize for the outburst. And Bafta also apologized. Now, Bafta directly apologized to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy. They did do that. But this is where the plot thickens even more. Even more. Because we also found out that, yes, okay, the BBC was like, oh, it was an error. Oh, we did, it was a problem. So sorry. Where was all that energy? Because apparently Warner Brothers says that they raised immediate concerns when John Davidson shouted the N-word in an involuntary tick while Michael B. and Delroy were on stage. They requested for the moment to be removed from the broadcast, but it was kept in. BBC, this is why I can't take your apology seriously. Y'all were able to have the understanding to get rid of this slur, that slur, this political speech. And even if you were to sit here and say, it was a mistake. Oh man, we missed it. There were so many blurs. WB came straight up to you and said, get this one out. And y'all decided to sit and deliberate, drink some tea with crumpets, and left it in. And just when I thought that was enough, now Bafta came out of nowhere. Bafta was like, wait, hold on. We too also pressured BBC to exclude John Davidson's N-word outburst from the streaming. So if we're to take them for their word, this 2-hour something odd tape delay that was able to delay to mute and edit out the free Palestine, the political speech, y'all were able to delete all the other homophobic and other racial slurs. WB came up to y'all and said, hey, that specific moment, y'all need to get rid of it. And then Bafta came up to y'all and also said, hey, that specific moment, y'all need to get rid of it. And you didn't. This is why I don't want us to sit here and get distracted with attacking somebody with a neurological disorder rather than, because keep in mind, that's somebody who doesn't have a choice when it comes to those compulsions. But the whole organization of the BBC made a choice to be neglectful and ignorant, to leave that in after they were told by two different entities. That's who we should be putting our energy on. That's who should be receiving all the flack right now. I'm not going to blame the disabled, the disordered or whatever. That's not it. Nah, it's the people with power. It's the people that had the finger on the button. Y'all the ones that dropped the ball here. Shame on y'all. And yeah, y'all apology or whatever, man. Well, whatever. I don't even care. I don't even want to hear it. Don't matter. That is great. Like, what I would like to see at this point, somebody needs to get fired. This is gross neglect. This is gross neglect. Somebody needs to get fired. Period. Because if it was anybody else at their job and they just so happen to let something ride like this, they'd be gone. Gone. But now the BBC has said, hey, we're going to launch an internal investigation. On what? For who? What y'all finna investigate? Your own error that y'all messed up, that y'all chose to clearly leave in? What are you investigating? I don't care. I don't care. So listen, I'm not saying that we should, but I'm also saying this. I'm not mad at nobody that want to boycott the BAFTAs and BBC moving forward. I understand. I mean, I don't watch them in the first place, so, I'm not really doing much with that, but makes sense. It would absolutely make sense. Anyway, guys, that's the whole thing right there. I hope that at the very least, I'm not trying to shame nobody or nothing like that, because I was equally ignorant about a lot of this stuff. There was a lot of things that I know I was saying wrong. I was saying, inappropriately, until it took me a little more time to just educate myself on this stuff. Tourette syndrome is real. It is not just like, please do not feel as though that because you can't relate to it, that it makes it less real. We are incredibly, if you have no mental disorders, you are incredibly privileged to not have that. In my mind, I'd be sitting here thinking of like, what if I couldn't control my bladder and I just had to pee all the time? Like, does that mean that I meant to pee on the floor? Does that mean that I don't care? No, like, I'm not going, that's not fair to blame people. Now, at the same time, Davidson can apologize, and he's tried, but I think he can do better. You can absolutely apologize. BAFTA, y'all messed up. The moment y'all noticed that this man was sitting next to a microphone, y'all couldn't switch seats. Y'all couldn't be like, hey, we need somebody to switch. So y'all couldn't turn that microphone off. So BAFTA, hold on now. Don't sit here and just point the finger at BBC and everybody. Don't know. You still got some accountability on this too. And yes, the biggest perpetrator here is absolutely the BBC. That's exactly the biggest villain here, for sure, for just being gross, neglectful at the very least. I'm not going to say it was intentional, but it absolutely, very minimally, was stupid neglect. And that's the best way you can even sum this up, if that. Anyway, guys, you let me know, what did you think about this whole situation? Did you know all this information? Did it help? Did it help? I'm more concerned of like, did you learn something? Did you learn something? Did it help? Maybe with some understanding. My hope is that we just have more productive conversations. I'm not saying, hey, this was a disorder, you can't feel this way. That is not what I'm saying. As a black man, I was offended as well. What I am saying is that let's make sure that we do educate ourselves, inform ourselves, get the facts, understand the situation, understand the complexities, and then move forward with holding everyone and anyone accountable. All right. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right. Mike, what you got? Well, my questions are, has it happened before? How much? And should he already knew or know, have excused himself? So, he has Tourette's. So this is something that he's lived with his whole life. So yes, it has probably happened before. How much? Probably often. And should he already have known to excuse himself? Well, again, he was there because the movie about his life was being honored, and like, why wouldn't he be there? He had a right to be there, right? And he was the one that chose to excuse himself halfway through the show. So, you know, if we're giving some sort of credit, I give him credit for that at least. And you have to also think about this. Like, again, you know, I try to, I'm not going to tell y'all how to feel, but I try to find some level of empathy. If there was something that I could not help and I was in that position, I would feel so embarrassed. Like, I can only imagine how embarrassed he felt, right? Like, he's like, oh my God, like, I'm making a jerk out of myself. I'm ruining this special moment. This is the moment that I, you know, that I should be proud of and all that. But because of this condition that I cannot control, I'm ruining it. I could only imagine that that's just embarrassing. Obviously, it's also embarrassing for the two black men on stage. But I could also see, like, for him, that's got to be a tough spot to be in too. All right, Mike again. Cool. Now that I heard testimony, I completely accept that. I just had questions. That's okay. Listen, that is okay, bro. That is okay. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff here I did not know either. There's a lot of stuff I did not understand. But you know, one thing I've always I say this to my kids too. I'd rather be dumb for one day than stupid for the rest of my life. I don't want to sit here and be ignorant about stuff if I have the ability to learn about it, right? And sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes all it takes, all we got to do is like just talk to somebody else, you know, research something, look it up, like, you know, watch a video. It is okay. I appreciate the fact that you even answered that you asked the questions, because I think they came from a good place. And you know, you don't learn if you don't ask questions. So yeah, man, don't even feel bad about that. That is all good. Puma, BBC, the place you have racists like Critical Drinker, Neurotic, Come from Bafta are really do they? I don't follow them. You know, that just made me think of Rob from Comics Explained. I don't follow them. So that is a whole mess. But what do you say? So sorry this happened during Black History Month. Yeah. I mean, like, again, this is why it totally makes sense why black people are entitled to feel a certain type of way about this. We already are under a political attack for blackness. You got an administration that's trying to erase Black history, take down slave, you know, slavery mentions, resurrect Confederate, you know, propaganda or whatever, get rid of DEI. What else they want to do? Like, you know, it's already a lot. It's already a lot. So, you know, I will not ever begrudge black folks or any minority group for feeling you know, a certain type of way if and when something strikes that kind of chord. Absolutely not. But you know, yeah, just, man, the times we are in right now, they are crazy. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Did any of y'all actually follow that Comics Explained drama? I know it's not related, but I don't know if anybody else has followed it. I remember there was somebody on this channel. I don't know where he's at now, but it was a black dude actually arguing with me about, like, no, you know, Nerdrotic or Comic Critical Drink, they're fine. Like, they just have different opinions. And I'm like, what? The people that are leading the online mob of you know, wokeness and anti-DEI and all that stuff. Okay, you know, listen, everybody entitled to their opinions, but okay. Okay, so y'all did hear, yeah, that was funny, and it sucks because I was watching both of them. Like I watched both of them. I like Ernie from Blurred Without Fear. I've liked Rob for years. But yeah, Rob was getting dragged. Yeah, Rob was, let me tell you something, brother. Yeah, just didn't. He was. I was feeling for it. I don't know Rob or nothing, but I was just like, dang, Rob, they coming for your life, bro. Like, that was funny. It was funny. But listen, both brothers had their own perspectives, opinions. It is what it is. I think it's cooled down by now, but it's getting a little hot, Anyway, all right, guys, that's all I got. Please make sure that you guys have a wonderful, safe, enjoyable weekend. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you guys. You guys know the routine. Wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Oh, what? No, take it right on time. Oh, you almost missed it. I almost got it. Bafta, Real Jago, Bafta and others need to step up, put out more than apologies, and donate to Tourette syndrome organizations immediately. Peace out. First of all, I need to see I like that. First of all, I need somebody fired. I like donations to Tourette's, but I also want them to donate to some black people too. Go throw in some money to HBCUs, to some other black organization. Throw that money to us black folks too. Okay, I don't just do that because you harmed both groups. So I want good stuff, man. Y'all came through with these. Had to unsub from Rob after I found out he followed them dudes. Damn, see, and that's man. Like I heard Rob's explanation, and I was just like, bruh, you are too old. You grew up with the internet just like us. Like you grew up before the internet, right? In this world today, a follow is also an endorsement. Because the way algorithms work nowadays, I don't have to follow someone to keep up with what they're doing. It's kind of like this. I'd like to watch different political channels and stuff, right? Like I watch left-wing stuff, I watch right-wing because I like to just be in the know. But I'm not donating to certain channels either. I'm not, subscribed to their, streaming platforms, right? Like I don't need to do that. I don't have to follow. I can watch a video. I can, click on somebody's profile and just read a tweet or two. I'm not giving y'all my follow because especially as someone as big as Rob, when you become an influencer, when you become that big, people look at you and they start to be like, what? Well, who do you look at? Who do you follow? And yes, who you follow matters. It can matter. It can inspire other people. It can be a thing. So, listen, I understand. If you have to unfollow him, sad, but I get it. All right. Anywho, I think we're good. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. All right.